When most people hear the name Sun Tzu, the first thing that comes to mind is war. But his true concern was far beyond fighting itself. His real objective was to use power in the most efficient way possible without wasting it. For Sun Tzu, the greatest mistake was not defeat. The greatest mistake was unnecessary exhaustion. The longer a conflict drags on, the more impoverished you become. Even if you are on the winning side, money is drained, order collapses, and people grow tired. Sun Tzu saw this as a fundamental weakness. In his view, true mastery was not about displaying power, but about knowing when not to use it. Many problems in modern financial life begin at this exact point. People focus on the idea of earning more, but they fail to calculate the cost. Working harder, taking greater risks, or chasing every opportunity often does not make someone stronger. It quietly weakens them. In Sun Tzu's perspective, power is not measured by what is spent, but by what is preserved. No matter how large an army is, if it cannot endure over time, it is not truly strong. The same applies to individuals. A high-income life without control can collapse under even a small shock. This is where Sun Tzu's financial genius becomes visible. He valued resilience over profit, because earning money is a momentary skill, but protecting it requires constant discipline. For Sun Tzu, the real victory is building a system that can protect what has been gained. True strength belongs to those who can manage power without consuming it. According to Sun Tzu, the most dangerous loss is the one you do not realize you are losing. On a battlefield, the cost is visible. Soldiers fall, money is spent, supplies run out. These losses are easy to observe. But the most destructive damage happens quietly. Discipline begins to loosen, order starts to break down, and decisions are made in haste. Sun Tzu believed that what collapses an army is rarely a single massive blow. It is the accumulation of small mistakes made one after another. Financial life works in much the same way. People usually fear large losses, but they ignore small drifts. Yet uncontrolled spending, unnecessary risks, and the constant state of alert slowly drain a person's strength. At this point, Sun Tzu implies something critical. Power does not disappear all at once. It fades gradually. Today, when you ask people why they feel exhausted or constantly under pressure, they often cannot explain it clearly. That is because these losses are not obvious enough to be easily identified. Income exists, but comfort does not. Earnings increase, yet the sense of security declines. These forces move in opposite directions. This is why defense is so important in Sun Tzu's strategy. Defense does not mean retreat. It means preserving order. In financial terms, this means not spending every gain, not chasing every opportunity, and not taking every risk. Strength does not belong to the one who is always in motion, but to the one who knows what must remain stable. For Sun Tzu, wealth endures not through reckless attacks, but through control. In today's world, the idea that more is always possible is constantly repeated. But this belief often makes people more fragile rather than stronger. Growth without limits turns into a structure without support. This is where Sun Tzu's financial intelligence becomes quietly but clearly visible. The loss you do not notice is the most expensive one of all. For Sun Tzu, the concept of time was even more delicate than money itself. A step taken at the wrong moment, even if it was the right step, could turn into irreversible damage. That is why he never saw waiting as cowardice, but as a conscious choice. In financial life, one of the most common traps people fall into is the urge to act immediately, the moment they see an opportunity. Waiting feels like loss to most people. Yet according to Sun Tzu, haste is the enemy of strength. What exhausts an army is not only fighting, but failing to know when and where to stop. In the same way, moves made at the wrong time exhaust money in a similar fashion. An investment entered too early is like pouring concrete onto ground that is not yet ready. A decision made too late can turn profit into loss. This is why Sun Tzu argued that power should move not with speed, but with rhythm. In financial terms, this means not being carried away by every wave. When markets rise, everyone appears to be winning, but the real difference reveals itself during the fall. In Sun Tzu's view, strength is not proven in ascent, but in turbulence. A person who cannot read time does not just lose money, they lose confidence, because every wrong move makes the next one harder. This is where Sun Tzu's financial genius becomes clear. Profit is often born not from speed, but from patience. Being able to wait does not mean missing an opportunity. It means avoiding the wrong entry. Because according to Sun Tzu, true mastery is the ability to stand still while everyone else is running, and to wait for the right moment while everyone else has stopped. Another subject Sun Tzu emphasized was not knowledge itself, but the relationship formed with knowledge. In his view, simply knowing things was not important. What mattered was using what you know correctly. The difference between someone who knows and someone who applies knowledge properly is what determines the winner and the loser in war. The same principle applies to financial life. People do not struggle to access information. Charts, news, opinions, and analysis are everywhere. What is difficult is distinguishing which of that information is actually useful. Sun Tzu warned that what appears obvious is often misleading. As noise increases, the sense of direction weakens. Today, many financial decisions are made precisely within this noise. One day hope is amplified, the next day fear is spread. People often act not based on data, but based on atmosphere. According to Sun Tzu, this is a clear sign that control is being lost, because control begins at the point where you can silence external voices. He valued not only gathering information, but also digesting it. Decisions made in haste are not guided by knowledge, but by emotion. In financial life, this turns into excessive confidence during rises and panic selling during declines. In Sun Tzu's view, the strong are not those who possess the most information, but those who make the fewest mistakes. Avoiding mistakes requires calmness. That is why he advised not to act in moments of uncertainty, but to wait until clarity emerges. Because even a correct move made with incorrect information ultimately leads to the wrong destination. Financial intelligence begins with not believing everything you hear. Sun Tzu's financial genius reminds us of a simple truth. Power does not increase merely as information increases. Real power grows when noise decreases. In Sun Tzu's thinking, risk is not something to be avoided, but it is also not something to be underestimated. He does not try to eliminate uncertainty completely. Instead, he learns how to live with it. Because in war, just as in life, certainty is a rare condition. In financial life, many people confuse risk-taking with courage. Large moves make decision-makers feel powerful, and fast decisions create a sense of confidence. But according to Sun Tzu, uncontrolled courage is the most fragile position of all, sending an army into a single battle with the expectation of winning. Everything is extremely dangerous, even if that battle is won, because it leaves no room to lose. The same principle applies to one's relationship with money. Tying everything to a single move does not increase strength. It only increases pressure. Sun Tzu favors small steps that allow return, because for him, the real issue is not winning, but staying in the game. In financial terms, this means taking risks that still allow recovery if things go wrong. One-shot moves driven by dreams of massive profit often push people out of the game instantly. In Sun Tzu's world, the strong are not those who take risks, but those who do not fall apart when risk becomes reality. That is why he builds the possibility of retreat into every plan. Knowing where and when to pull back is not defeat. It is intelligent strategy. In financial life, a plan without flexibility is not a plan at all. Sun Tzu's financial genius offers a very clear lesson here. If you cannot continue after losing, you were playing the wrong game from the start. True strength is not in taking risk, but in being able to carry it. Sun Tzu's view of money ultimately simplifies into a single principle. Power is not something that is merely obtained. It is a balance that must be protected. Winning a war matters less than avoiding the need to fight one at all. The same truth applies to financial life. True success is not endlessly chasing profit, but being able to sustain what has already been earned. According to Sun Tzu, when control is lost, power may still appear to exist, but it can no longer be managed. This is exactly where many people struggle today. Income rises, opportunities expand, yet peace of mind declines, because order has failed to keep pace with growth. This is where Sun Tzu's teaching reaches its conclusion. Money works quietly when it is in the right hands. In the wrong hands, it constantly creates problems. Financial wisdom is not about wanting more, but about knowing how much is enough. In Sun Tzu's eyes, true victory is not defeating others, but moving forward without crossing one's own limits. A healthy relationship with money is built on this foundation: using power without consuming it, growing profit without turning it into panic, and most importantly, never losing control. Because in the end, what remains is not how much you earned, but whether you were able to stand on your feet with what you earned. This is where Sun Tzu's financial genius reveals itself quietly and clearly. Real power is the ability to continue forward without losing what you already have.